Chief, there's one battle that you're going to be fighting for the rest of your life. And I'm sorry to tell you this, but you can't win it. And you can certainly lose it. And that is the war with yourself, with your demons, with your urges, with your brain, whatever you want to call it. Because at all walks of life, at all levels of success, your brain will try to fuck you. Through instant gratification, through doing things you shouldn't, through putting toxins in your body, through acting like a degenerate. It will always be the easier option, and in the moment it will always feel better, most likely. Now, I know you're not an idiot. I know you know the difference between instant gratification and delayed gratification. Many men have spoke about it on here. But what many men haven't spoken about so much is how that choice stays for the rest of your life. An example I'll give is when you are very comfortable, when you're at rock bottom. Possibly you never leave the house, possibly you're just sitting indoors playing video games all the time. And finally you've had enough and you push yourself to go out there and do things. Your comfort bubble starts expanding. At first, just leaving the house maybe felt terrible, felt terrifying. But then you get used to it, and then it's just your normal. Maybe you learn to drive a car or take the public transports, and that's terrifying, but then that becomes comfortable and your comfort bubble expands. The only way you can expand it is by pushing it out, pushing against the sides. And that resistance, that's fear. When you feel that, you know you're pushing against it. But guess what, Chief? You get comfortable, and the pull back towards the center will always be there. The comfort trap, I call it. Because for someone just getting into the gym, just going to the gym once a week is expanding their comfort bubble. But for someone that's been into the gym for a few months now and now is used to it, skipping that day and not going 3 times, only going 2, that's going inwards. And this is why you shouldn't compare yourself at first, because some people have much bigger comfort bubbles than you. Some people smaller. But you are always at war with yourself, because I've said it before and I'll say it again, our brains are really not that much different to how they were back in caveman times. Your brain thinks it's doing good for you, trying to help you survive. Your anxiety is to keep you safe, so is your fear. Your dopamine addiction to social media content, to junk food, that's your brain trying to forage and survive. But brother, you don't need to do any of these things. There's nothing trying to kill you unless you're in America. That was a bad taste joke, but I've been there recently, I can say it. You don't need to forage and survive by eating fatty foods because there's a supermarket just down the road and a takeaway. But your brain doesn't know this. Your conscience does. Your prefrontal cortex knows exactly what sort of lousy degenerate you are. But your amygdala, the animalistic part of your brain, is just trying to keep you alive. So I don't think you should be hateful towards your brain, but you need to understand it to beat it, or at least to fight it. Fear is trying to keep you safe, but it's keeping you weak. So when you feel fear, instead of listening to it and letting it push you towards the center of your comfort bubble, you should feel the fear and do it anyway. You should feel the fear and use it as an indicator to keep pushing. That means you're on the right track. Yes, it doesn't feel right, but as an indication you're going in the right direction. When you get cravings, I'm not saying never indulge, because if you deem it as valuable, whatever. But when you get cravings, understand that's pulling you again into the center. These primal things we feel are trying to pull you into this comfort zone, which will only make you weaker. And you don't have to spend life constantly pushing your comfort zone. That's however you want to live it. But make sure most of the time you are. Because the more time you spend going towards the center, the more your comfort bubble will shrink and the weaker you'll become. And it's up to you how comfortable you want to be. I've recently got comfortable at my job, and I never thought I could say that. It's still difficult, but I have almost like a close-knit family there now. And now I'm choosing to leave. And it hurts to leave. It's making me sad even talking about it. But I want to keep expanding myself. I want to keep doing this. I want to put more energy into this, so I'm getting a slightly easier job, but also changing my environment. Somewhere where I will basically be starting new again. And my brain is throwing things at me for doing this, because when I started at the job I'm at right now, I was a wee baby. I was basically run into verbally, physically. And I thought I could never get comfortable there. And now I've done all this work to make people respect me that first didn't even like me, to make people like me, to make, or in my opinion, that place better. Now I'm going to leave. My brain's like, are you really going to go through all of that again? And the answer is yes, because that is how you grow. It's called growing pains. You need to do the same, Chief. Yeah? And the reason I call this a war, it never ends. You will lose battles, you will win battles, but the war never ends. Because your brain will constantly be trying to protect you, not knowingly making you weaker. You are going to fuck up in the future. You're going to relapse on whatever. You're going to do things you shouldn't have. But like I said, you cannot win this war, but you can certainly lose it. You can certainly fucking give up. And that's not acceptable. Fighting it is all it is just pushing against the comfort zone. Do you want to know the best thing to do if you lose a battle? Get up. Keep going like it didn't happen. Because making yourself feel bad about it, making yourself feel guilty, that's a choice you're making. No one's telling you to do that. You may have done something quite bad, but how you feel about it is your choice. If you need to feel bad about it enough to make a difference, do it. But being guilty, being self-hating, that's a choice you're making and not a wise one. Think about it pragmatically. What value is there about keeping yourself down? There is none. If you need to hold yourself accountable, of course. But there is no valuable in wasting time feeling sorry for yourself or getting yourself down. You can choose to be there for yourself and just come back stronger, come back with a better mindset. No, it's not as easy as it sounds, of course. But remember, how you feel and what you put into this world is always your choice. So choose wisely. And when you don't, make amends. Chief, I believe in you. Say less. Do more. See you tomorrow.